philosophical study of the nature, origin, and limits of human knowledge. Empiricism. Empiricism is a philosophical theory that asserts all knowledge originates from sensory experience. It emphasizes the importance of observation and experimentation, particularly in the natural sciences, contrasting with rationalism, which holds that knowledge can be gained independently of experience and relies solely on reason. Rationalism. In philosophy, rationalism is the view that considers reason as the chief source and test of knowledge, positing that reason takes precedence over other ways of acquiring knowledge, particularly sensory experience, empiricism. However, all rationalist claims are derived from empiricism. Rationalism has no grounding, no foundation, and no relevance outside of experiential contexts. Reason serves merely as a process of abstracting universal attributes from particulars we experience in the world and then assuming these attributes exist in a transcendental, Platonic realm of ideals. Without a posteriori, empiricist, experiences of these particulars, we could not and would never conceive of these transcendental universals at all. Even abstract thoughts, such as a purple elephant, or a three-headed snake, are examples of combining or compounding particulars derived from experience. Examples. We have never directly experienced a purple elephant. However, we have encountered elephants and purple objects. By combining these experiences, we can conceive of the abstract concept of a purple elephant. Similarly, we have never experienced a three-headed snake. Yet, we have encountered snakes with one head and seen three of many things like rocks, people, or snakes. We combine these concepts into the abstract concept of a three-headed snake. The correspondence theory of truth. The correspondence theory of truth states that a statement is true if it accurately describes reality or corresponds with the actual state of affairs. This theory suggests that truth is determined by how well our beliefs or statements match the world around us. The correspondence theory of truth is the only reliable method for verifying knowledge, epistemology. Attaining truth relies on our empirical sense data. This can be illustrated through a couple of examples. 1. Plato's allegory of the cave. In this allegory, prisoners are chained in a cave, only able to see shadows cast on a wall, symbolizing how limited sense experiences can distort our understanding of the true or transcendental world. However, the only true world the prisoners know consists of the shadows on the wall, verified by their empirical sense data. To assume there exists a real world of the objects casting those shadows is purely speculation. This assumption lacks empirical evidence and is thus illusory and false. If the prisoners later encounter more empirical evidence demonstrating the existence of the objects outside the cave, they could then validate their assumption about the real world. Nevertheless, they would still be relying on empirical data. 2. A car with a broken gas gauge. Relying on our sense data of the gauge could cause us to falsely assume we are not running out of gas. Only when we gather additional empirical evidence such as the car sputtering, slowing down, or the engine shutting off can we verify the lack of gas and the gauge's malfunction. In both examples, and in all cases, we verify what is true by assessing whether our experiences correspond to reality. This once again reinforces that the correspondence theory of truth is the only reliable method for acquiring knowledge about the world, epistemology. A priori knowledge. A priori, prior knowledge, is information that can be understood or justified prior to experience. A posteriori, post-knowledge, is information that is dependent on sensory experience. Immanuel Kant's argument that space and time are prerequisites or intuitions that precede our experience and filter our sense data can be easily refuted. In reality, space and time are learned concepts derived from our direct experiences via data collected from our sense organs. Kant's faulty assumption stems from misinterpreting our empirical experiences, which are altered by the human tendency to universalize particulars, essentially misinterpreting experiences by abstracting them into abstract concepts. Kant asserts that the space an object occupies is a priori, or prior to the experience of the object. This claim is demonstrably false because the abstract concept of space cannot exist without first encountering the object. Space is simply the negation of the object. It is an abstraction created from delineating the shape of the object. Therefore, space cannot be defined or identified without the object itself. In essence, space is a derivative concept arising from recognizing the shape of an object and cannot exist a priori to that experience. The object itself engenders the perception of space based on the negation of the object, or that which surrounds or contrasts it. The definitions we apply to the object and the space it occupies or the space surrounding the object are themselves arbitrarily dictated by personal interpretation. For instance, if a person labels an ocean wave as the object, and subsequently designates the ocean as the same object, both definitions necessitate relabeling or redefining the space the object takes or the space surrounding the object. The space surrounding the wave is distinctly different from the space surrounding the ocean. This clearly demonstrates that the concept of space is not a priori, but rather empirically derived. Similarly, time is derived from our experience of noticeable change or alterations in the world manifested through movement, growth, and changes in shape, color, odor, and temperature, among others. The sequence of these changes serves as a marker allowing us to distinguish a current state from a previous one. This sequencing of changing states is then abstracted into the conception of time. We must not label a matter as true and real unless it is confirmed over time by repeated observation. And so error would not exist if our reasoning minds did not add opinion to those things which our sense organs perceive. Epicurus, Letter to Herodotus.